reggelt kívánok!
Sziasztok!
Sziasztok!
Yes.
Igen.
So this is great. I'm very excited about this. This is our Hungarian baking.
Nem beszélek angolul.
Ooh, I like that.
Beszél magyarul.
You're an Egyptian and you speak Hungarian better than I do. Beszélsz magyarul jobban, mint én beszélek.
Én amerikai.
Amerikai Egyptian.
Un amerikai.
Igen, de magyar parents. I'm getting messed up now.
Okay.
Sokkal jobban beszéltem, mikor 3 és 4 éves voltam, mint beszélek magyarul most. I spoke much better Hungarian when I was 3 and 4 years old than I do now.
Beszél magyarul nagyul.
Nem nagyon jó.
Nagyul.
Köszönöm szépen, menjünk ma. Mit csináljunk ma?
Anyway, jó reggelt. Today we are filming a Hungarian dish. Dios Beigli, which is a walnut roll, which is famous in Hungarian cuisine, Hungarian pastry, but it's also known among many of the other Eastern European countries. There is a Polish walnut roll. I'm pretty sure that there are other walnut rolls throughout Eastern Europe and Western Europe. But today we're making
the Magyar roll is the most famous.
The Magyar roll, which is the most famous. Dios Beigli.
Again. And what else is it made with?
Makos, which is
poppy
poppy
seeds,
seed,
yeah.
but you don't like. Add that to the list of things that you don't like.
Right, I'm not a big fan.
Poppy seed, olives, coconut.
But the poppy seed one is very popular as well.
Igen. So you all probably know my husband is Hungarian, Magyar. I am not. I'm Egyptian and American, but he's taught me a few words, and I've been trying to learn some Hungarian as well.
Better than I am. Jobban beszélsz, mint én. Ez biztos.
Nem beszélek magyarul.
Beszélsz.
Nem
Jobban, mint
beszélek.
én. Na.
Én egy kicsit beszél magyarul.
Én egy kicsit beszélek.
The
grammar is so hard. The grammar in Hungarian is incredibly hard. The nyelvtan nagyon nehéz.
Okay. Let's do this.
Yes.
All right. So the walnut roll.
Palinka, since we're having it's Hungarian Day?
No.
Oh.
It's the morning.
Oh, that's right.
Okay. So we're going to make Dios Beigli, which is the walnut roll. My husband doesn't eat the poppy seed roll, but both recipes are going to be on my website. And please let me remind you right now, as soon as possible, please subscribe to my channel because it validates my endless hours of baking to my husband and allows me to continue.
Yes, there you go.
With this.
I wish I could say that in Hungarian, but I can't, and it'll just be a mess. So let's go, and I'll try to say Hungarian stuff as we go.
Great. Okay, so the walnut roll is composed of a very rich biscuit, basically. So we're going to incorporate butter with flour and sour cream. So it's a very rich biscuit or cake roll, essentially. And we're going to kind of combine the butter and flour very much the same way you would a sweet pastry crust or a pâte sucrée. We are going to blend the butter and flour together, and then we're going to knead it a few times to make sure it's homogeneous. So this is not going to be like a pie dough where we're looking for a flaky dough. Now, one difference in this is that there is yeast. So we're going to get a little bit of a rise. We're going to ferment it twice or proof it twice. And then it's going to have a walnut filling, and we're going to roll that up. And then we're going to coat it with a egg white glaze and then an egg yolk glaze, and that's how we get the traditional cracked look on the Dios Beigli. And we're going to walk you through all of this.
Okay, you want me to translate that in Hungarian? Not a chance. There's not a chance. I can translate. Nem bírom, az biztos. Jaj, csoda rosszul beszélek magyarul. Go ahead, I speak Hungarian awful. Yeah, you know.
Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to combine our all-purpose flour. So we're going to put 1.5 pounds of flour. So
flour is Liszt, right? Yes,
Liszt.
I think it's Liszt. I think it is.
Like Franz Liszt?
Ah, very good. The first rock star, Franz Liszt. And everybody's heard of the Hungarian Rhapsody. You watch Bugs Bunny cartoons, you know Franz Liszt. You just don't know that you know him. But very played in Tom and Jerry cartoons. It's one of the most famous classical pieces of all time. He was like the first rock star. People like loved him.
Okay, so we're gonna do 680 grams of flour.
All right.
And we're going to put 3 tablespoons of sugar. Yes, that was grams, 680 grams. And then we're going to put 3 tablespoons of sugar in here.
Now you know my grandparents. I was raised with my grandparents, which I loved, and you know we had plum trees out in my house. And my grandfather would pay me $1 to go pick up plum trees and put them in 5-gallon buckets. Pick up the plums from the plum trees that are falling on the ground. And I was wondering why. These are bad. They're falling on the ground already. They're overripe. But putting them in 5-gallon buckets, and we, let them ferment, because my grandfather was making
plum wine.
Yes, not plum wine, plum palinka.
Plum palinka.
Woo, boy, I had a stomachache. My mom gave me a teaspoon of that stuff. It killed any problems in my stomach. It was wonderful. Whoa, oh my God, it was like fire. Okay.
All right, so we're going to add a half a teaspoon of salt also. And then we're just going to give that a quick stir. All right, so that's our flour, sugar, and salt.
Nagyon szép.
Nagyon szép.
Very nice. Very pretty.
Szép idő van ma.
Very nice. It is nice outside.
Köszönöm.
We're in Florida. You're speaking very well.
Okay, so ahead of time, I put my yeast in with it's a tablespoon of active dry yeast that I combined it with just a little bit of milk at room temperature to get it kind of frothy. And so that's ready to go. And then, you could use your hands to combine the butter and flour. I'm making a very large amount, so today I'm just going to use the food processor. You can use the food processor, you can use your hands, you can use a pastry blender, whatever you like. So today I'm going to use the food processor.
This is my mantra is nagyon rosszul beszélek magyarul.
Beszél magyarul nagyon jól.
Famous Hungarians. Franz Liszt.
Franz Liszt.
Yes.
Oh, Rigo Yancey.
Oh yes, because the cake was named after Rigo Yancey.
Sarkozy.
The French, yeah, but I was thinking more of
He's Hungarian.
Szilard and let's see, there's so many cinematographers and all their names.
Oh,
Bela Bartok is a composer, and there's Bela Lugosi is how people say Bela Lugosi here, but it's Bela Lugosi.
Okay.
And he's a Hungarian, the original Dracula, the greatest Dracula of them all.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to put our cubed cold butter. So I cubed it into about 1/2-inch cubes. This is a half a pound of cold butter. So we're going to add it in here, and we just kind of want to distribute it through the flour a little bit. But this is cut, and then I put it back in the fridge, so it's kind of cold.
Now you're going back and forth from pounds to grams.
I did?
Yeah, you said half a pound.
So half a pound of butter is 227 grams of butter.
Yeah, so you're kind of flipping back and forth here. Okay. Gotcha.
So the idea here is to get the flour coated in butter. And then we're going to get it...
We always have to have faux pas here.
All right.
Little bit. It's real. It's a real kitchen.
All right, we're just going to pulse. Until we get to the point where it almost looks like breadcrumbs.
Okay. Looks like there's smoke coming out of the top. I know it's just the flour.
So pulsing is a lot better than just turning it on and letting it go.
Otherwise, it'll be you don't want to.
It'll get creamed.
Right. Creamy texture.
So the main thing is I want to make sure that the butter is incorporated well into the flour without having big chunks of butter remaining. So I'm just gonna go a little.
Doing that with your hands would be a little more. Doing that by hand would be a little tougher, yeah?
It's tougher, but you can get a better feel for it.
It's coming out the sides there, kiddo.
Okay. So I'm happy with that. I'm just going to clean this up a little bit, and then we'll move on to the next step.
Okay. All right, honey. Who's one of the greatest soccer players to ever live?
Puskás.
Yes, Ferenc Puskás. This one right here, and another very criminally neglected soccer player is Sándor Kocsis. Puskás and Kocsis were the two great Hungarian soccer players. Kocsis doesn't get nearly enough credit, but we're giving him it here. We're giving him credit here. Puskás and Kocsis, Hungarian's greatest soccer players. What's next, baby?
All right, so we've got the flour and the butter combined. I'm going to add the yeast to make sure that I previously activated with a little bit of milk here. Okay, so in some recipes they use milk.
Tay.
In this recipe, I'm using just a little bit of milk for the yeast, but I'm actually using sour cream for the rest of the dairy in here. So we're going to just combine the yeast and the flour, and that we'll do that really quick with a couple of pulses. Then we'll add some egg yolks.
And all this can be done by hand, but you're making such a large quantity that you're doing, it's easier this way for you. Gotcha.
So now I'm going to add egg yolks. I'm going to add actually 5 egg yolks in here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Tojás.
Yeah, but I don't know yolk specifically. Tojás means egg.
Oh, well, okay. Yolks of tojás.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right, so you can see we're starting to combine the wet and dry ingredients, and then the final thing is going to be the sour cream. That's what's really going to bind this together. So as I said, some people use milk. I'm using sour cream. This is whole fat sour cream. And then that's going to bring our dough together, and we'll take a look at it in just a second.
Can I give you an interesting tidbit of information?
What's this?
Ohio State University at one time had 2 Hungarians in their backfield running backs. You know that? Les Horvath, who was the first Heisman Trophy winner for Ohio State, and Jean Fekete,
which means black.
Yes, Fekete means black, but when they say the name here, it becomes Fekete.
Fekete, like
yeah. So
like
anyway, his grandson and I are Facebook friends, Kevin Fekete.
Really?
Yeah, in Columbus, and I was like, oh my God, I know your grandfather.
Oh, I think you just recently became his Facebook friend.
Yeah, because he actually, my dad loved, Horvath and Fekete because they were Hungarians in the backfield of Ohio State, so he loved Ohio State. Paul Brown was the coach. These 2 were in the running back position. It was a wonderful time.
By the way, that was a half a pound of sour cream, so 227 grams.
227 grams is a half a pound.
And as you can see, this is starting to come together. Okay. So good. I'm going to stop now that it's just come together, and I'll do the rest by hand.
Az a szép, akinek a szeme kék, akinek a... Honey, you know the next line, don't you?
I've never heard that song.
Of course you have.
Is it the Hungarian national anthem?
No, God, no. That's Isten áld meg a magyar.
Okay, well, I don't know this song.
It's a very fun song. It's az a szép, akinek a szeme kék, akinek a szeme fekete.
Something black.
Yeah, it's very nice, those who have blue eyes. But people put in, it's supposed to be those whose eyes are blue, but people say those whose eyes are black, just for fun.
Okay,
Yeah.
Can you give me a bench scraper, please?
I don't know what that means.
Yes, you do.
Oh.
Just give me one of the firm ones.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Is that good? All right, there you go. Thank you. I know the national anthem too, but I don't want to sing it because I'll sing it poorly.
You don't think you know how to sing the national anthem?
Oh, I do. Isten áld meg a magyar.
That's lovely. Keep going.
Jó kedvel bőséggel, nyújts feléjem védőkar, a küzd ellenséggel, Barsósa. I can't.
I thought it was very lovely.
Yeah, but it makes me well up because
Because I know.
Yeah, my parents.
All right, here we go. We're gonna give this a little bit of a knead. Well, you were parents, like many other parents who came to America, came for the same reasons.
Yeah. Avoid the sickle of communism. So this is your. How long do you need this?
Just very briefly to make it come together, okay?
But you want the butter not to be fully integrated,
yes,
correct?
yes, we do. This is
Oh, you
not.
do
This
want
is not
not
pie
rough-
dough.
Okay,
This is not pie dough.
gotcha.
This is more going to be like a pastry crust.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we are making sure that we get it homogeneous.
Gotcha.
So we're making 4 rolls, by the way.
Yes.
So I'm working on this recipe for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried a lot of different recipes, and I really like this one. And actually, a Hungarian friend, Anita, really liked this one.
Mm-hmm. Did you get any of the recipes when we went to Hungary and visited my family? You got
Yeah,
a lot
I got
of
your
recipes.
grandma's recipes translated.
Yeah, Diana did that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you, Diana. That's my cousin from Homokterén, which is a very little village near Salgótarján. So my mom was from Homokterén. My dad was from Várkesző, which is kind of near the border of Austria.
What happened to Mosonmagyoróvár?
Mosonmagyoróvár is where my dad's first cousin, my uncle Karcsi, lived, who was the head of pediatrics at the hospital in Mosonmagyoróvár. God rest his soul, he passed away
Oh, so
recently.
your dad's family wasn't actually from there, Mosonmagyoróvár.
Right, they're from Várkesző, which was a small little village right near Mosonmagyoróvár. Not that close, but I mean, Hungary's a small country now. It used to be much, much bigger.
So as you can see, we just gave it.
Transylvania.
As you can see, I think I got this apron from Transylvania.
Well, there's a Transylvania used to be part of Hungary, and it's always been, but there's a big Magyar population there.
Okay, can I talk just really
Of
quick
course you
now?
can. Igen, beszélj, kérem szépen, beszélj.
Alright, so now we've got it combined, and it's a nice smooth dough, and we're just going to give it a little bit of a knead here. We don't want it too tough, but we do want to develop some gluten because it's going to get rolled out and rolled up. So we do want to knead it for a couple of minutes. And then we're going to split it into 4 because this is going to make 4 rolls.
And what do you do with these rolls?
What do you mean?
What do you do when you make these rolls? You send them out, don't you?
Yeah, this is for Christmas. So we're starting our Christmas baking early. So we're going to mail some of these out to relatives. I first got that idea because when we first got married, your cousin Judith
Mm-hmm.
sent us Judith
yeah.
sent us Beigli for our wedding present.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that a lot. So I like to give
You
gifts.
love, I always say my wife and my grandmother would have been soulmates. And instead she had a little brat of a boy like me who just ran by, grabbed whatever pastry was ready to make, and ran outside to play.
Alright, so this is where we want it to be. Okay, we're going to split this up into 4, and then we'll come back and wrap it and chill it for about 30 minutes.
30 minutes, so we'll see you 30 perc.
Igen.
30 perc múlva.
Viszontlátásra!
Very good, I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
Sziasztok! Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
That's Hungarian Rhapsody number 2, Franz Liszt. of a show-off and rock star he was.
Okay. We ready? We're going to make the filling now.
Itt vagyunk. Mit csinálunk most?
Igen.
What are we doing now? I said, what are we going to do now?
Igen.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
We're making the Dios.
Okay. Got it. The filling.
The filling. So,
Walnut.
for 4 rolls, this is the filling for 4 rolls. Now, a lot of people would do 2 rolls Dios walnuts and 2 rolls makos, which is poppy seeds, but we're doing all 4 rolls in walnut. So just so you know the quantities, okay? So I've got 500 grams of walnuts that I've chopped. Most of it is finely ground, but I've left some bigger pieces in there, okay?
Just for differing texture.
Texture, right. Now, a lot of people put raisins. That's another thing that you don't like. Raisins, poppy seeds, olives,
Okay,
coconut.
all right. Jó vagy ma az énekel.
But they used to call you hunsult.
Yes, they used to call me Hunsut. And
Because you're
Pishti.
mischievous.
Yes, Hunsut Pishti, I guess, because
Right.
Pishti is the nickname for Stephen.
Yes.
István.
All right, so I've got the 500 grams of ground walnuts, which is essentially a pound of ground walnuts. And then, again, I'm going to do it a little bit different than maybe some traditional recipes. I've tried both. I've tried putting milk with my walnuts as a binder. I like that, and that recipe's up on my website. But today I'm going to try a different, I've tried this before, but today I'm going to show you a different kind of way of binding, which is with egg white. So I'm going to put 4 egg whites that are at room temperature onto my walnuts, and so 4 egg whites turns out to be about roughly 120 grams, okay?
Tojás fehér.
Tojás. Egg white tojás.
Yeah, but I don't know if white is fehér, but I don't know if tojás fehér means egg whites. I don't know. But
All right, and then to that I'm going to add the zest of 1 lemon. Okay.
you know who else is Hungarian? You know who else? Who else is Hungarian? If I say the name, you tell me what band they're in.
Oh.
Gene Simmons. Not the
Kiss.
Yes.
Oh,
Good
I got
job,
it.
honey. Good job. Actually, in concert, when they were playing in Budapest one time, he actually sang "Az a szép, akinek." Yeah, he sang it out there.
What does that mean? Az a szép.
Az a
Szép is
szép,
nice.
az a szép, akinek a szeme kék. This is nice. This is nice. The one with the blue eyes.
Ah, nagyon szép.
Nagyon szép.
Nagyon szép. All right, so 340 grams of white sugar.
You know, my grandmother measured. She used one of those old-fashioned sliding scales.
Really?
Oh yeah. You remember what I'm talking about with the weights?
No wonder it took so long to bake back then.
Yeah. I mean, you had to use the weights to
You
get
had
it right.
to. There was no. Gosh, if they didn't have a food processor to chop walnuts
That's
in,
right.
this thing that you could chop. I remember my mother with a mortar and pestle chopping, or not chopping, but mincing garlic, which probably is still the best way to mince garlic and spices.
Yeah, people frown upon the garlic
Right.
press, you know.
But I remember she would sit me on the floor with a mortar and pestle and mince garlic cloves.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, so this is should not be too wet. It's the egg whites and the sugar. The egg whites are just enough to bind the walnuts. Sometimes when I've used my milk, I find it that it's a little too wet, and I'm more prone to cracks in my beigli.
So you want cracking in your beigli, but you don't want big burst cracks,
No.
right?
I want a crackled effect of the yolks and whites.
Gotcha, but you don't want the beigli itself to break open and crack.
No.
Right.
So we want a not
We're
uncracked.
looking for a crackled effect, but no cracks.
Crackled
Right.
effect, but no cracks.
There we go.
Correct. All right,
We'll
so there. So some people also like to add vanilla, which will be a nice flavor also. So of course, there's many different ways that Hungarian moms and grandmas and Hungarian women will do it.
But
All
there's
right.
no paprika in this, right? I'm kidding. I'm joking, obviously.
Okay.
Okay. Jeez.
All right. So we'll be back in a little bit, and we're gonna roll out our dough and fill it and show you.
And the
what to
dough
do.
right now is in the fridge
Fridge. It's chilling for 30 minutes.
in
right.
saran wrap.
Right. It's not exactly proofing. I said proofing before, but it's really just resting right now.
Resting in the
Okay.
fridge with saran wrap. Vislát? Say it.
Viszlát! Viszontlátásra!
Very nice, honey. Very nice.
Igen.
Jól mondod.
Köszönöm.
Szívesen. that list is crazy, isn't it? The fingers are flying all over the keyboard on that. Hungarian Rhapsody #2, of course. McDonald's made a commercial with that. It's breakfast, McDonald's breakfast.
Be able
The
to
camera
roll
just
it.
stopped for some reason. I restarted it, but it just stopped and like went up, so I don't know what's happening there.
Okay. So we want to be able to get a thin layer here because we want to be able to roll it later.
Gotcha.
So we don't want it too thick, so I'm spreading it pretty thin. But trying to make it even.
Mm-hmm. And that's the ingredients are walnuts.
Walnuts, sugar, egg whites, and
Simple.
lemon zest.
Simple.
Very
Lemon
simple.
zest, yeah.
Actually reminds me a little bit of baklava, but we don't put lemon zest in our filling.
But we do.
But you do. Alright, that's good. And so this is what we're going to do. We have ready some beaten egg white and beaten egg yolk. Okay, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that in a
I
minute.
wonder if I should get a close up or no. We're good.
If you
No, I
just-
got.
Okay.
Yeah, I got.
Alright, so we're going to fold over the dough, over the filling to kind of lock it in. Alright, we're going to do that from all sides.
I'm so pathetic. I don't even know how to say fold in Hungarian. So I'm trying to say, ooh, I can translate this in Hungarian. I'm like, no, I can't. I can't.
You ready?
Yes.
Alright, so we're going to tightly wrap this.
Jaj, de jól néz ki. Jaj, de jó.
I'm going to add a little bit of egg. What did you just say?
I said, my, how nice. My, how beautiful. My, how good.
A little bit of egg white to the end to seal the roll. Okay, so you see, very nice. And then we're going to put it on a parchment lined sheet pan, half sheet pan. I'm just making sure it's nice and sealed here.
And you put the seal down, obviously.
Seam side down.
Seam is down, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do our other 3 rolls, and we're going to let this proof at room temperature for about 40 minutes. Okay, so it's not a long proof. This is not meant to puff or, you know, double in size or anything like that. This is just a very short proof, and you can see the sides.
Looks like a jelly roll almost. Yeah.
So I'm going to finish doing this, and then we'll be back after proofing because we're going to show you how we're going to do the crackle effect.
Okay.
All right. See you soon.
So we say Isten áld meg a magyart.
Okay. Yes.
Say it. Isten áld meg a magyart. God bless
Isten
Áld meg a magyart.
magyar.
That's
Viszontlátásra!
very good. Sziasztok! We're back.
Sziasztok!
Sziasztok!
All right. So my 4 rolls have been proofing for about 40 minutes now.
40 perc. See, I did 40 minutes. Is 40 perc.
Very nice.
Look at that.
Szép, nagyon szép.
Jól beszélek. Jól tudom a magyart.
Okay. And to get that classic crackled effect on Beigli, we do a wash with egg yolk first, chill the Beigli for 10 minutes, then a wash with egg white second, chill for another 10 minutes, and then we're going to bake them.
Bake. Chill and bake? What? You're going to egg white them?
Egg yolk.
Egg yolk.
Egg yolk 10 minutes. Egg white 10 minutes.
All right, little one. We have our little daughter in the back.
Nagyon szép.
Nagyon szép. Say sziasztok.
Uh-huh.
Okay, now she's talking like a Christmas mouse. Okay, back we go.
All right.
Karácsony egér. All right,
So I just sprayed this plastic wrap before I covered the rolls.
What'd you spray it with?
Just some baking spray, just so it wouldn't stick.
Gotcha.
So we're going to give a light brush with yolk all over.
And that gives it what? Like a nice shiny.
Right. So any wash egg yolk is fat, egg white is the protein. It gives it a little bit more of a glaze. but the egg yolk or even when you brush with butter, which we're not doing here, but I'm just saying in general that will give it a browned look.
All right.
A browned
Nice.
top. But anyway, so the classic for Beigli is a crackled effect, which you get when you do yolk first, then white. You'll see.
And that won't happen if you just use egg white.
Right.
Correct? Gotcha. Nice.
Correct.
So you use toyash.
Toyash.
Sharga? I don't know.
Did you go
Sharga
look
means
this
yellow toyash.
Did you go look this up?
No, I didn't look it up. I don't know how to say yolk and egg white, but I
All right.
say.
So we're going to chill it for 10 minutes, and then we don't have to come back for the white briefly. We're going to put the egg white next. That's going to chill for 10 minutes to firm up. Then we're going to bake. Before we bake, I'm going to come back and show you how we poke holes in it to make sure we don't get cracks.
So we're not showing the egg white. We're just showing,
No.
yeah, you're just going to do exactly what you did with the yolk, but with egg white.
Correct.
Chill 10 minutes, egg yolk, cover, chill for 10 minutes, egg white, cover, chill for 10 minutes, then we'll be back.
Then we'll be back to skewer it.
Oh, skewer it, siestok.
Siestok.
Say siestok.
Siestok. Vi sont lateshra.
Very good, very
Okay.
impressed.
All right, so these have been washed with egg yolk, then washed with egg white, then chilled for another 10 minutes. Now this is the important part that will prevent your Beigli from cracking and exploding in the oven.
You don't want the Beigli to burst open.
Correct. So we're going to put holes, and we're going to put about 15 holes maybe all together. But the important thing is when you go in the top, you go all the way to the bottom of the Beigli. So you go hit the pan at the bottom. And we're going to put a few holes from the side.
All right. No, Sin, don't eat. Our little 4-year-old daughter is running around, running into the tripod. That's what you saw there. She's making a...
Okay, so these are full of holes. We're going to put them in the oven at 350 for 20 minutes.
Right now?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we're going to lower the heat to about 320.
And that's Fahrenheit, of course.
Yes, and then go for another 40 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, and then we'll be back. Actually, 325. I'm sorry, I misspoke.
Okay.
325, not 320, for 40 minutes. Okay. So we'll be back after they're all baked.
Then say siesta.
Okay, siesta.
Kish Baba. That means, what are you doing, my little baby?
Igen.
Hello.
Hi.
Hogy vagy?
Hogy vagy?
Hogy vagy? How are you? Elég jó, köszönöm.
Nagyon szép.
Nagyon jó, köszönöm. All right, let's go. Let's see what you got
Okay,
here.
we got Dios Beigli.
Can I get a close up of it?
Yeah.
All right. Let me see. Let me close in on this. Actually, let me bring it to the camera.
No, it'll slip right off.
Oh, okay. Then I won't bring it to the camera. Let me zoom in. I don't like to zoom on the phone, obviously, because it's not great. But I will zoom in on it. Beautiful crackling. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, the crackled effect.
The crackled effect is beautiful. I love it.
Okay, so this is what they look like cut up. So I've cut these in halves because I'm going to pack them later for some Christmas packages. And you see the nice nut swirl.
Nut swirl.
Nut swirl.
Right, nut swirl. The walnut swirl, we'll call it.
Yeah, the walnut swirl. So
and the crackling is good. That crackling
the
effect.
crackled effect.
And
yes.
there's no, you don't want them to crack out open to explode.
Right, we don't want them to explode. Sometimes I'll occasionally get a little crack here.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to worry about. Like, it just takes a little bit of practice to get them so that they don't crack in the oven.
Let me guess.
Some tips for avoiding cracks.
Yeah, avoiding cracks. I would guess don't overstuff it.
Right. So don't overfill, right?
Okay.
Okay. Don't make your walnut pieces too big because if you have massive walnut pieces, they'll just crack through the dough. Your heat could be too high, so that's why I start off with a higher heat, but about 15 to 20 minutes in, I lower the heat and finish baking at a lower heat. So watch your heat. And then I'm not letting the dough rest enough during the first chilling fermentation part. So about an hour is good to put your beigli dough in the fridge before you start filling it and rolling it to really let that gluten rest before you roll it up.
Nagyon jó. Kérem szépen.
Nagyon jó.
Kérem szépen egy kicsit próbáljatok egy kicsit. Kérem szépen.
Igen.
I asked you if I could try a little piece.
Igen.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
come on, let me try a little
Nagyon
piece.
szép.
What do you mean nagyon szép? Let me try a little piece.
Actually, these are the ones I was going to pack for the...
Oh, you could cut a tiny piece off and nobody's gonna know.
Okay, I'll
You
give
can do that.
I'll give you a piece.
Aren't you giving it to my friends anyway?
I'll give you a piece from this roll that the kids started eating, okay?
Here we go. I'm gonna give it a little try. Csoda jó.
Nagyon szép.
Nagyon jó, nagyon szép.
Nagyon jól.
Mwah,
Nagyon
perfect.
szép. So, köszönöm.
Köszönöm. Let's say goodbye to our relatives.
Let's say goodbye to our relatives. Oh, first I just want to show you what I do.
Oh.
I will wrap them in plastic wrap and pack them up in these Christmas boxes for shipping, and they ship beautifully.
Wow, that's nice. Actually, I'm gonna finish that over here.
Okay.
And
So
let's say thanks my mother's side of the family in Hungary, in Homokteren, which is the Kovács, the Gecsas, and the Berza. You remember me and my uncle Berza István when we went to visit, and we had a kicsi pálinka.
Yes,
Egy
the
kicsi.
pálinka.
Egy kicsi pálinka.
Nem egy kicsi, nem egy kicsit. Nem.
Egy kicsi sok.
No,
Egy kicsi sok.
nem egy kicsit.
And then, of course, from my dad's side of the family was in
Okay.
It was the Keszei family from Várkeszer.
And
Moshe my dad's first cousin was just his favorite person in the world. Dr. Karchi was there, and he has wonderful daughters, and a granddaughter. Claudia hooked us up, told us how to get there. So we
had a wonderful time in Budapest.
Yeah, so the Kesseis, the Kovács, the Berzes, the Gecsas, God bless you all, we love you.
Yes.
And Isten áld meg a magyart.
Viszlát!
Viszlát! Isten áld meg a magyart.